Hey guys, this is our quick hour theater reaction to the new biopic film about Michael Jackson. Michael, directed by Antoine Fuqua, starring Jafar Jackson as his uncle Michael in his film debut. Um, Thoroughly enjoyed it. Been waiting for this film a long time for obvious reasons, legal issues too. There were a lot of delays, a lot of reshoots. They heavily hint that we're obviously going to get a part two. There was nearly 4 hours of footage that was originally shot for the film, but things had to be scrapped a lot and condensed. But for 2 hours, I thought they pulled off a lot of greatness. The movie was pretty fleshed out. It covered a lot, leading up to his early days from Gary, Indiana, and then, going into more of his young adult solo career, partnering up with Quincy Jones. Going from Off the Wall and then into Thriller and then leading up to Bad by the end of it. And I was impressed with how much they managed to cover in 2 hours because my biggest worry was the length. I thought that 2 hours was way too short to cover even that amount of his life, too, up to him being close to 30 at that time. But somehow they pulled it off. You can make an argument. Maybe one of the only weaknesses was maybe we could have spent a little bit more time on um, young Michael's life, the Jackson 5 era, but they did a great job. I thought Giuliano, I think his name is, as young Michael, did a great job. Very convincing as young Michael. And Jafar, for his first acting debut, Michael's real life nephew, who's Jermaine's son, um, knocked it out of the park with no prior acting experience or being a natural dancer at all. He embodied Michael. There were moments that you knew you weren't watching the real Michael,
Yeah.
but there were moments where he actually made you believe you were watching Michael again. He nailed the mannerisms, the speaking voice, the technical moves, and the videos and performances that were recreated. And I was just impressed with it. All the technical stuff, costume design, hairstyle and makeup, production design, everything was spot on. Nia Long was a great Catherine. I thought Coleman Domingo was very scary and very unlikable as Joseph, as he should
Yeah.
be. And everybody did a great job. A part of me does wish it could have been a little bit longer,
Oh
flesh out
yeah.
a few more things, closer to 3 hours as opposed to two. But I can't complain because we're probably going to get a part two that's 2 hours or longer. So that's like 4+ hours altogether when you add do that addition and put it together. So that's one whole 4 hour plus movie. I'll take it,
That's too long. I thought the movie highlighted a lot of, the greatest moments that Michael went through, and it packed a lot of information, but in a decent amount of time.
Hmm.
You know, I can't imagine if it was longer. I think the length that it was perfect, and I'm looking forward to the part two. Hopefully that they film so it can really finish up the story. But I was very impressed, and everyone did a fantastic job. And I think this movie is, the movie to go see with your friends and family, and to reminisce on those, good songs that you can play and listen back to, and seeing it in action and what Michael went through, making the music and the behind the scenes, and I really appreciated it more. So
Hmm.
I think that, everyone should take the time to go check it out.
It was amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
think excellent job all the way through. Definitely one of the best theatrical experiences I think I've ever had, and I've been seeing a lot of movies in the theaters for a long, long, long time, and this was definitely one of the best ones. Um, Excellent job though, and just really floored by a lot of the attention to detail and
Mm-hmm.
the way it brought out some of the darker moments too. His fractured relationship with Joseph and how controlling he was, with the family too. And they touched on a lot of joyous stuff, but also a lot of hard things too. And I guess the criticism from most people was, oh, it didn't touch on more of the controversy.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to keep in mind between those years from the 60s with young Michael all the way up to what it depicts up to 1988 in the Wembley performance at the end, there was really not a lot of controversy surrounding Michael other than maybe the surgeries he was getting.
Mm-hmm.
But save that more for part two, see how they pull that off in the more darker years of his later years. But For a part one, I was very satisfied as a Michael fan, and I just don't fully understand all the criticism of those who may not care for it as much critically, but
Overly
most,
critical.
yeah, you know, but I don't know, most audience seem to like it as they should as a fan, and it was a great celebration of his legacy and his music. And Jafar, you could tell, handled this with the utmost care and love and respect for his
Yes,
uncle.
he worked so hard.
You almost got goosebumps at moments, you
Yeah,
know.
there was no one else that could have played
Mm-mm,
Michael the way Jafar did.
no
Like
way.
he's, related to Michael and he really worked hard and you could
Mm-hmm.
just see it all come together and when it did it was just I was amazed. I was shocked. I was
100%.
completely shocked. I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm watching really
Yeah.
Michael
You didn't
Jackson.
really see Jafar anymore after
No.
a certain point.
Yeah.
It fully made you believe you were almost watching the real Michael. It
Yeah.
went beyond just an impersonation, and he just did an outstanding job, you know. Hopefully he'll get nominated for it.
Yes, they all should get nominated for this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coleman too. It was unbelievable.